Hey everybody, welcome to Shifty's Club. Guys, just to let you know, still looking for someone, kinda do intro video, which would be pretty cool if any of you do know. But today, we're not doing Pokemon. Instead, I'm going to be going over a Magic the Gathering deck, and then I will do a playthrough to show you guys what it kind of looks like. So those of you who are just here for Pokemon, you can skip over this video. But if you want to learn how to play Magic, or you want to learn some cool things about Magic, I highly suggest watching this video. Today we'll be doing a modern green elves. I decided after Eldrazi's came out, I decided that Storm is pretty much not going to be good in existence, so I'm definitely going to dismantle it, and I'm just going to play elves. Now, granted, some of these cards I do currently have on me, so the other ones I'd have to order. So some of them are proxies. So, but I wanted to go ahead and show you guys kind of sort of what it looks like. Anyway, here is basically. Well, let's say it this way. Most of you are used to seeing one set way of running modern elves, and then the sideboard is usually completely different, according to Medicam's course. Excuse me. And there might be, in the main deck, there might be cards tweaked here and there, but that's basically the modern elves that you know in that one other player has played with when Shaman of the Pack came out, and it was really kind of sort of really good. But hang on one second. I guess I'm not getting that off. It's right here is this little white thing. Let's see. Right there, you can see some really huge white thing. It's actually a piece of dust that I can't get off. So, just to let you guys know, hopefully things will work out. But anyway, it shouldn't block my obstruction. So without further ado, here is Modern Elves. Okay, let's see how I can run this. Okay, I think we're set. Okay. Sorta kinda, guys. Alright. First card up. Elvish Archdruid. Probably can't see from here what he does. I'll hold him up for you guys. Can't see. Okay, so basically cost 1 and 2 green. He's an elf druid creature, and his first effect isn't really that important, but it does help. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. But his second effect is so good. Tap it, add green to your mana pool for each elf you control. And he's a 2/2, so. And I run 4 of them. So. Next card is Elvish Mystic. I'm not really going to show you guys much what he does because this card, pay one mana to play it, and its ability, you tap it to add a green to your mana pool. And it's a 1/1 creature. And I have 4 of them. Land of War Elves is basically the exact same thing. And I play 4 of them. I'm turning some of them the wrong way. And I hate doing that. Let's see. There we go. And then that's pretty much everything that you would expect to see inside of Elves. But here's where I start to turn the pages a little. Fauna Shaman. Or I guess I can call it Shaman. I'm so used to the Pokemon Shaman, so let's just call it Shaman for now because it's something I'm more used to. But I know it's called Shaman. Sorry. But Fauna Shaman is basically costs 1 and a green. It's an elf shaman creature, and it costs 1 and a green to get out, but its ability is so good. Pay 1 green, tap it. and discard a creature card and you get to search your library for a creature card. Put it in your hand, shuffle your library. Now this is hands down why this card costs $10 a piece. And the 2/2 down there, it can attack a little, but mainly every turn for the first like 3 turns you put it down, you're gonna be swapping out creatures left and right, and that's just to set up whatever you need, and that's why I run 4. This next one is a little less expensive. It's Elvish Harbinger. It does almost the same thing, except it costs 1 more to get out. It's a 2 in a green. Sorry guys, it's a 2 in a green, and basically, when Elvish Harbinger enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an elf card and reveal it and shuffle your library, put that card on top of it, and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So basically, it's what people don't understand. It says elf card. So the elf doesn't have to be a creature, which I'll get to later. So I do run 4. And this is the way I get Fauna Shaman, basically. If this is the 1 card in my hand and Fauna Shaman's not, so basically on turn 2 I can get that, draw into Fauna Shaman, and start something really cool going. So yeah. And then that's it for my 4 Elves. Now here are the two Elves that I use, and they're not as critical, but I play 2 of them because that's how much more you're going to use them than on my 1 Elves. So the first one I'm play is Imperious Perfect. Now, most people don't understand this card too much, but for 2 and a green, is an elf warrior creature, and other elf creatures you control get 1/1, and then you can pay his ability. You can pay a green, tap it, put a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token into play. So basically, you can just stack your field. And most people say, really don't make too much sense, but when you see this next card, you'll see why. And a lot of New Age players are using this card, and I guess the reason why I run some of the stuff I do is so this card can work to literally turn 5 and get solid 20 points. And it's Shaman of the Pack. Basically, for 1, a black and a green, which makes this deck no longer mono green elves. Shaman of the Pack enters the battlefield. Target opponent loses life equal to the number of elves you control. So this is why we run stuff to, kind of ramp up the elf count. It's a 3/2. That's not really important. The mana cost is somewhat, because you can't just run all forest in the deck unless for some reason you're able to grab Elvish Harbinger every single game. But whenever you play it, of course. And it's a creature, elf shaman, or shamans, yeah. We'll actually set it right that time. That first part. Let's see. So the rest of it is basically 1-ups. So every one of these are 1-ups. But let me get to them. We're going to go kind of sort of alphabetical order in the non-legendaries first. First one is Elves Champion. I play 1 of them because it's a sort of situational, but it's good to have it in the main deck. Elves Champion for 1 and 2 green says other elf creatures get +1/+1 and have Forest Walk. And basically that means as long as an opponent controls a forest, those creatures are unblockable. So, and for 2/2, it's pretty good. Once you throw it down though, generally you throw it down against either the mirror or other green decks. There's so many popular green decks with like Kitchen Finks and the Ooze. I say everybody hates Scavenging Ooze unless he's literally on your side of the field. The next one is Gaia's Herald. Now, a lot of people don't understand too much why I would run this and another card, which I'm going to get to later. And actually, I'll go ahead and tell you the name of it. It's the card I'm talking about. Don't exactly remember. Okay, Souls. That's what it is. A Cavern of Souls. Because there's so many different Cavern cards. So, Gaia's Herald basically works about the same way, with the exception that it can be searched out through fauna shape. So if you can't get to your caves and you know your opponent is going to be playing different control stuff, it's very very good to have access to something that you can actually use. It is a 1 in a green, and it's a 1/1 creature, but creature spells can't be countered. That's what happens once it gets in play. It's just a regular elf creature. This next one is sort of kind of a weird tech, but I actually can find use for it. Gilt-leaf Archer Druid costs 3 and 2 green. It's a creature elf druid, and it is a 3/3 creature. It says whenever you play a druid spell, you may draw a card. There's a few druids in here, of course, but basically his other ability says tap 7 untapped druids you control, and then basically gain control of all lands target player controls. So it can be used as some slight disruption. If you know your opponent's going to win, basically you can just search that out and kind of stall for a little bit until you can get something going. Now this one I probably should run a little more than one of, but it is definitely by far one of the most useful cards. And may I remind people, this is literally my first attempt at this deck. So Jiraga Warcaller costs 1 green, and it's a elf warrior creature, and it's a 1/1, and it has a multi-kicker ability. And basically what it does is you can basically pay the multi-kicker as many times as you want, and then that's how many times the effect would come into play. And its multi-kicker is 1 in a green. And it says Jiraga Warcaller enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each time it was kicked. So basically with things like Elvish Archdruid and a lot of different elves in play, you could get virtually you could get as high as you want, truly, but generally you're going to get a 3/3, 4/4, 5/5 Jiraga Warcaller, and you're going to have 2/2, 3/3, or 4/4 1/1 counters and give everything that. So it's logical that with this card, it's logical to have anywhere from 5/5 to 10/10 elves, depending on, that's logical too. So and basically other elf creatures you control get +1/+1 for each 1/1 counter on Jiraga Warcaller. I won't spend too much time on it because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna end up putting another, because it's just that good. Now this one is a weird tech, but this one is for those when your opponent plays things like Death Touch. Basically you have to have a way to keep up with them, and you have other creatures like I showed you before that can basically put a 1/1 creature token onto the battlefield. Like Imperious Perfect can just keep revving the 1/1 tokens, and at one point your opponent will run out of creatures that they can even play because they're not going to have any cards in their hand. And at that point, because they have no way to keep regenerating creatures unless they have some miracle plan, basically Death Touch auto losses when you can get Llanowar Mentor out, because at that point you are able to just put a whole bunch of druids, 1 per turn. Basically you get basically it's like putting a free Llanowar elf. So at that point you've got so much mana it's not even funny, because a lot of them will play things like they'll basically play something to target Elvish Archdruid and force them to block a creature with Death Touch, killing Elvish Archdruid. So at that point you have other responses, and because they don't have any way of doing each creature, there's like all creatures that can. So yeah, and there's really no way they can untap everything. So, but they can always untap like 1 creature, and they always want to untap mine just so they can force me to do it. And I've had that happen a couple times. So I figured it's just a good tag. Now this one I really like when I first looked at it, and it's been one of my little faves since my favorite one of It's Oracle of Nectars. It costs 2 in either a green or a white, and it's an elf cleric. And it's a 2/2 creature, and its ability says pay X and tap it, and you gain X life. I think that's pretty cool right there. Because I really like being able to extend games. And speaking of extend games, the last 2 I have left are legendary creatures. And from that, you already know I'm holding Dwayne in my hand when I'm talking about extending games. So, Dwayne is basically one of the faves. It costs 2 and 2 green, and it's a legendary elf warrior creature. It is a 3/4. It has reach, which is pretty good for most of those flying Thopters, and I absolutely hate those Thopter artifact decks. And this pretty much can just stop the dangerous ones. So, and it says other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. That's pretty good. And whenever Dwayne attacks, you gain 1 life for each attacking elf you control. So at that point, you can extend games until you get the card you need. Generally, he's not too much help, but when he is helpful, he's there for your convenience. And the last creature is another one of, and it's Azuri. Azuri Renegade Leader costs 1/2 green to get out. It's a legendary elf warrior creature. And it's 2 abilities. One is pay green and regenerate another target elf. So that comes in handy a lot. But there's very few times when I can guarantee I'm going to get this out with things like Elvish Archdruid. So as to make sure that, you know, it doesn't go straight to the discard pile and or graveyard, and I can just get them back. So, and the other one is the best ability. And the reason I put it in here is for 2 and 3 green, which is a little costly, but it's very effective. It says elf creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. So that basically is a game-ending ability. Now for the 2 spells I have in the deck. And now the first one is one you're obviously going to see in almost every one of them. And I like it myself. And it's Collected Company. Collected Company, for those of you who don't know, which most of you play regularly do know, it costs 3 and a green. And you look at the top 6 cards of your library and put 2 creature cards. We convert them into cost 3 or less from among them on the battlefield. And put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So basically, at that point, you're just putting more and more elves out. But here's one of the cards that most of your elf decks don't play, that probably should. If their whole goal is to play Shaman of the Pact, they should probably play this card, because even if it's a tribal sorcery, it still can be searched out by things like Elvish Harbinger, and that gives it a higher chance of getting found. So, it's Elvish Promenade, and for 3 and a green, it's a tribal sorcery, and it does have elf on it, so that means that you can search it out when something says elf card and not elf creature. So that kind of, like, you know, puts things at your advantage. And its effect says put a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token into play for each elf you control. So it's not unrealistic to have anywhere from 4 to 6 by turn 4 that you can put up, because you're basically getting rid of a lot of stuff. Generally, your favorite turn 1 setup is to get a green, and then get a 1 cost mana elf, and then the next turn get another one, and then play a 3 cost, either Elvish Harbinger, an Elvish Archdruid, or Fauna Shaman. Either one of those 3 are usually the ones you want just to get on your turn 2, because at that point your turn 3 is, you know, pretty optimistic. And yeah, I like Elvish Promenade. It's pretty good. So that being said, now to our 3 different lands, and I know a lot of people are like, well, you're supposed to run 7 or 8 different ones. No, absolutely not. I don't really run a whole bunch of different texts in my sideboard. Of course, there are a lot of green stuff that I can use that work just as well, and don't force me to have to run this and that and this and that. So, and here's one of them. It's this is the $40 card. It's called Cavern of Souls, and this right here says it's a land, and it says as Cavern of Souls enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. I'll always choose those, of course. And you can either tap it to add 1 to your mana pool, which is a great upside because at that point you don't have to spend the mana as if it were only to cast creature spells. But the other one does say tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, spend this mana only to cast creature spell of the chosen type, and it can't be countered. So y'all remember Gaia's Herald? It's pretty much about the same thing. Except Gaia's Herald can be searched out of the deck. And that's the reason why I played one of it. So, the next one is Gilt-leaf Palace. And basically it says, as Gilt-leaf Palace comes into play, you may reveal an elf card from your hand. If you don't, it enters tapped. And it's a, tap is add black or green to your mana pool. So, because my whole deck is elves, I'm literally never going to fail that. So. And then, last but certainly not least, 12 forests. That's right. I run 20 lands in this deck. And basically, there's no real explanation. I should, do a 6-hour leisure on forest, which would be the stupidest thing in the world. But anyway, guys, so, now that you've seen the deck, and I guess it's okay for now, but I'm going to shuffle up and I'm going to show you guys kind of sort of what a run through looks like for this deck. And for your benefit, I'm going to try to do things to where the camera looks a little better so you guys can actually see the card. Of course, you can't really see the card too well, but at least now you know what the cards do, so when you do see them, you're like, oh yeah, I know what that card does. He explained it to me. So, I'm basically, and the sleeves are a little sticky for some reason. I guess I really need to get new sleeves because okay. We're going to do it like this, though. Nah, we're good. Yeah, because from here, you guys can't really see too well what they are. And I know what they all are, so upside down, I guess it's fine for me, though. Uh-oh. Oh, I dropped the card. Okay. So here's what our hand looks like. Not the best, not the worst. It's definitely not the worst because at this point, I have both the Harbinger and the Fauna Shaman, so I've got to keep this hand. So basically, I'm going to opt to keep it, play that, tap, throw out the elf. So that's basically what it looks like. So basically, I throw out the land, tapped it, played the Elvish Mystic, and that's your ideal first turn. Alright, I draw. Okay, Elvish Champion is it depends on what they're playing now. The one-ofs depend solely on what your opponent's playing. At this point, you have to decide, is it better to go Elvish Harbinger or Fauna Shaman? And the difference is that Elvish Harbinger is better when you're trying to get things like the tribal sorcery for the elves. Whereas it's basically in there in case you can't draw a Fauna Shaman, so you can find it and, you know, keep a good cycle going. And obviously at this point, put the 2, tap them, Fauna Shaman out. And there's really nothing else you can do, so you pass. And we're just going to keep the lands tapped because we're definitely going to use them. Like, every single turn. I can't remember a time where I don't use them. Alright, so there's Shaman of the Pack. Okay. So right now we're leaning at... we have a Fauna Shaman and an Elvish Mystic. So realistically we have 2 mana to work with after we use Fauna Shaman's ability. Let's say, for instance, that we're not going up against the deck that would even have a forest. So we're going to pay one of them, and basically we're going to discard it. We're going to search for something that could be of use to us right now. And what I would totally recommend at this point would be that because you have basically 2 mana to work with, and before you put your forest out, you gotta think, would you rather have, like, say, something that could completely, you know, just not dominate your opponent. So, here's going to be our options. We have Elvish Archdruid, which is our huge mana supporter. Our mana source, sorry. We have, let's see, where is he at? Okay, here he is. We have the, no, not the Elvish Promenade. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to look at this stuff upside down, but I'm pretty sure I could do it. Not Ferarga. Can't find it. No, I think Land of War Mentor was what I was going for. Where is it at? Ideas Herald. Here he is. Imperious Perfect is another one. That should be it. Basically, the question here is, do I have enough to run on? At this point, if I had held Elvish Archdruid, I would have the mana that I need. I'd have all the mana in the world. And at that point, it's just, what do I do with the mana? Because all I have is a Shaman of the Pack and an Elvish Harbinger. Or do I go for Imperious Perfect and try to put all these 1/1 creature tokens left and right onto the battlefield? So there's a huge decision there. They're both the same mana cost. But again, the question is, I have the mana I need in play right now, where I really don't have to worry too much. So what I could do is just take the one card that can help me most right now and throw Elvish Archdruid back in the deck. Now, most people would go straight for Elvish Archdruid and then go for Mana Ramp and then realize that all they have is a Shaman of the Pack and an Elvish Harbinger. And what I want is to... This is turn 3, so get that out. He's tapped, so basically I tapped out on turn 3. Let's go back to our next turn. Oh my god, you've got to be kidding me. I swear I shuffled this deck, so. Well, I mean, it's not really going to do too much for me right now, so. We have the Elvish Archdruid. I guess we could play him now. I mean, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing in the world. So I'll pay the 3 to get him into play. We'll go ahead and hardest decision ever, guys. Because at this point, here's what I'm thinking. Do I just go for the 1/1 green elf with a leftover mana so I can start stacking this, stacking it all? Or do I go for a home run creature? Of course, there's really not a lot of home run creatures. But here in this situation, this is why I wanted 2 Jorag Warcaller. It's because I can basically tap this and this, and I can sack this win condition because I got another one in the deck, so. And I can go for the War Collar. Sorry guys, I'm not gonna. You guys don't gotta worry about it, so. So draw a War Collar, going into my hand for next turn. I figured when I pulled the Elvish Archdruid off, I figured there's got to be some way I can make use of that mana, because at that point I'm just wasting mana if I don't do something with it. And Elvish Archdruid doesn't need to attack; it needs to be utilized as, you know, what it's meant to do, and is create mana. And the other 1/1 or the 1-cost mana creatures, they can live with it. So at this point, just in my turn, block if need be, because, you know, I've got plenty of ways to sack my defenses. Okay, this is definitely a perfect draw. So, Cavern of Souls, we're putting it down, obviously. And we're going to call Elf. We're going to tap it. Or, sorry. Yeah. Oh, let's see what we're going to do here. Yeah, we're going to tap this. These three. This one, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 altogether, and that means we'll throw draw a War Collar with 4 1/1 counters on it. So now it's got 4 on it. Sorry, you guys, you probably can't see this really well. Actually, let me do it this way. It's a lot easier to see. So, okay. There we go. So this is what I'm going, yeah. So I have the Elvish Archdruid tapped for mana, so that kind of make it a little easier for you guys to see. And I'll just have my hand over here, kind of sort of in the screen. There we go, because we only got 2 cards in the hand. But it's fine because we've got pretty much everything we need out right now. So now, because he's a 4, you can basically just swing for 7. I think it's 7, yeah, because you get the 4 and the 1, that's 5, and he gets the 4 and the 1. So, or no, he's a 7, he's an 8. Sorry, I keep forgetting. It's Archdruid. I see things are upside down. So basically 7 and an 8 going for it. At the next turn, this is where things start to get interesting. Llanowar Elves, we don't really need this. So we're going to tap one of for the Fauna Shaman. We'll just do this right quick. Fauna Shaman gets tapped. Throw away the Llanowar Elf. And we're going to get Azuri. Azuri can easily end a game for us, so let's say, for instance, my opponent is running dry on just about everything. So basically, I tap the 1, I tap the other 3 to get Azuri, and Cavern of Souls makes sure that it's not blockable, or not counterable, so throw that out. So at this point, I got 1 card in my hand, Elvish Harbinger. I guess at this point, I'll just go ahead and tap the Druid, so I can put the Harbinger in. Search for. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I probably shouldn't be doing that to you, but Elvish Promenade. In control decks, you know, some of them could be doing stuff to me, but in case of Cavern of Souls, I said Case of Quills, I'm sorry guys. I'm so used to playing another deck, so anyway. So with this, we'll put it back on top of the library. And then we pretty much can just attack if we need to. If this doesn't do it, I don't know what does. So, let's just say at this point, our opponent is still alive for some God knows reason. There's the promenade. Now I see 4 lovely forests sticking back there that we can use this for. And we've got a bunch of little tiny dice here, just to give you guys a heads up of what this deck can do to people. This is just nightmarishly scary. Because at this point, you pretty much have your opponent in a bind. We'll stack them nice and neatly in a little shape. But you guys can't even see the dice. I'm sorry, guys. Let's move them here then. Yeah. So at this point, you have no cards in your hand, but you have 7 regular creatures. You have 7 token creatures. That's 14 altogether. 7 of them are able to attack. And in case you can't win, you have 7 more for backup. And the thing, Drug Warcaller gives them +4. Purious Perfect gives them a +1. Elvish Archdruid gives them a +1. So you're getting +6 altogether. So these are all 7 creatures. So everything's at least, a 7/7 out here. So I really don't know what to say, because at this point you could just go boom, Elvish Archdruid, use Azuri's ability, and give everything +3/+3 and trample. So no matter what, you pretty much win. So that's pretty much the deck. I really don't know what else I can really say about it, because this is my first go at it, but I think I've done a pretty good job with it. Of course, I'll probably put another Dragon Warcaller in there. But this is basically Modern Elves, guys. And I know it took 40 minutes for this video, but still, I really think it's, to me, it's the best deck in Modern. Now, to a lot of people, it's not, because I actually believe that this deck does have a couple weaknesses. I agree, and it's probably not going to work perfectly every single time, but that's what the sideboard's for, right, guys? And, of course, there's going to be a lot of people that say that there's only one way to run the deck, because, some really good guy decided that he'd play that deck and it won, and now everyone has to run it that way. So, those guys really are good at the game. So, of course, I'm not saying I'm good, because I'm not really. But this is basically what you guys are going to pretty much get. But anyway, that's Modern Green Elves. Sorry the video was a little low quality, but it works. It sets up. I might put a little draw power into it. Who knows? Because Elvish Visionary is really not the best draw source. So, and you're not going to be searching for it anytime soon. But like I said, it's my new favorite concept. Is what I'm going to be running from now on. So there you have it. That's Modern Green Elves. And I'm going to bring back a point that I said earlier, guys. My sweet tea. I'm dead serious when I say I'm looking for someone, kind of do a intro video, and I have I have an idea in mind, and I'm a very picky person when it comes to doing stuff. Of course, I'm not going to pay like $100 an hour for someone to do something, and then just like get like one picture done in an hour. Oh, that's $100 just because I did one picture. No. That's actually why I did the win-a-box. I could probably do that again, but the problem is I've gotten now to where I want it my way, kind of, sort of. So instead of doing like a bunch of submissions, because you guys did see those boxes I had. Actually, someone bought some of them, so I didn't sell all of them. But anyway, bought some of them, and I still have some left, so I can do that if I want. Of course, I've got boxes of every single set there is, so. But anyway, guys, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe, post any comments in the comment section down below. And as always, I hope you guys have as much fun as I've had. I'll see you guys next time at Shifty.